Madame Rattazzi, the floor is yours.
Thank you all for being here. And we, as you know, Treasury Board has been back here a few times, are seized with the issue of Vote 40 and the allocation in Vote 40. And I understand that there has been a small confusion or misunderstanding, or perhaps lack of understanding of what that Vote 40 is. And it has come before OGGO, and OGGO is the committee that has to approve the allocation. And there have been questions about how departments that have that money allocated to them are not comfortable or don't know what that money is for. And that's the narrative we've been hearing from the opposition. And so I want a global view of what this Vote 40 does and doesn't do. For example, I know that this has been a transition from the old system to the new system. In the old system, everybody approved without knowing what they were approving. They approved the main estimates. Now there's an alignment process. And as an accountant, I think that is where the alignment process allows us to have a contingency or a buffer. So for the benefit of all of us, or people who are probably listening to television, could you please clarify and explain exactly what the parameters of Vote 40 are, and if monies are not used, what will happen to them?
Well, thank you, Madame Rattazzi. As you mentioned in your question, Vote 40 is it's a very important step towards the President of the Treasury Board's agenda for improved transparency in the reporting of estimates requirements, and his ongoing effort to ensure maximum alignment between the budget that is tabled by the Department of Finance and the estimates that are prepared by the Treasury Board Secretariat to inform Parliament of the government's requirements for the year ahead. In this year, in the main estimates in 2018-19, we've taken a very important step forward by achieving that clarity between the budget and the estimates. The budget that was tabled in February identified the government's intention to seek authorities to spend just over $7 billion on a range of initiatives for departments and agencies across government. In years past, Parliament would have been left waiting for the estimates authority. There was no line of sight as to whether those requirements were going to be brought forward in the first supplementary estimates of the year, or the last supplementary estimates of the year, or even in an estimates in the year forward. This year, for the first time, we have taken the clarity of the budget that outlines the items by department and by initiative and by amount, and we have replicated that in the estimates so that parliamentarians can see very clearly what the government intends to do for the year ahead. This is a way of parliamentarians holding the government to account for the requirements to be sought by departments. There's nothing nefarious here. It is 100% transparent between the budget and the estimates document. In the event that items are not brought forward by departments for approval, as the President has made clear, those funds would remain in the vote. They cannot be used for any other purpose. We are bound by Annex A, listed in the estimates, such that we can only allocate funding that has been specifically identified in the estimates document by department, by initiative, and by amount. Over the last couple of years, again, as part of our effort to improve transparency to Parliament, we have taken the opportunity of the last supplementary estimates of the year to highlight to Parliament those amounts that have previously been approved and are not going to be accessed by departments, and we have frozen those amounts. We have made them unavailable to departments, and that same principle will be applied this year for TB Vote 40. Should funds not be allocated, then they will be identified to parliamentarians as amounts frozen at the year end. They will lapse in the fiscal framework, and should that funding be required in subsequent fiscal years, those will be identified in future year estimates documents. So therefore, to sum up, Vote 40 is, as I say, it's an important step forward in helping parliamentarians understand the connection between the budget and the estimates. There is no light between the amounts and the initiatives that are identified in the budget and the amounts and the initiatives that are identified in the estimates. And in this way, we have achieved alignment with the budget. We've provided Parliament with additional information by which they can hold the government to account, and they can regularly check in with departments and with the Treasury Board Secretariat and ask questions about the pace of implementation of these budget priorities.
So to clarify, you're saying this is more accountable and more transparent, but the Vote 40 has come to OGGO. It hasn't gone to different departments. In the previous system, the supplementary estimates used to go to different departments. So if you could help us understand how that system has moved to make it more accountable. I am with you. The previous time, main estimates made no sense, and we were approving something that the budget had no relevance to the budget. But I think we need to figure out if Vote 40 is a temporary measure while you're moving from one system to the other, or is it a permanent fixture?
Thank you.
We only have about 30 seconds left.
Right.
Jobs.
The House of Commons has approved changes to the standing order for the duration of this Parliament in order to allow Treasury Board to move forward with an agenda to reform and align the estimates with the budget. And so Vote 40 is intended to be a temporary measure in accordance with that change to standing orders for the duration of this Parliament. We would expect to assess and evaluate this mechanism and then seek approval from Parliament in the next Parliament as to how best to move forward with the effort to align the estimates with the budget.
Thank you very much.